real fast before we get started, we're selling this shirt for a limited time. I'll talk about it more at the end of the video, but it's on Teespring, link in the description down below, so check it out. Okay, so this video has been in the works a little bit longer than expected, but it's finally done. Today I will be taking an in-depth look at some known Division 2 talents and extrapolating information on build diversity, depth, and composition from that info. I have heard a great deal of concern from the community regarding universal weapon and gear mods, as well as the elimination of main stats, firearms, stamina, and electronics, and the effect that these changes will have overall. The shift could possibly cut down on fringe builds or the practice of hyper-stacking one attribute to achieve a build that sits at one extreme end of the spectrum, but my views are quite different from that. In Division 1, we as players are used to a very simple concept of stacking as much as we can in both damage and toughness all the time, through which we unlock talents that further boost damage or toughness. It's a very simple and linear path. The more you have, the more you get, the more you can unlock, and so on and so forth. But with Division 2, this will change drastically. Before diving into the more detailed things, we should do a brief overview of gear sets, or brands as they are called in Division 2. Traditional gear sets are gone, replaced with a spread of manufacturers or brands which can stack up to 3 pieces for 3 different unique bonuses. These will likely serve as the baseline for builds, stacking either 3 and 3 or 2 2 2 or some other variation of the sets for a selection of preferred bonuses, but this is just the beginning. The best way to show this is to examine screenshots of the various pieces of gear from the playable demo at E3. The first thing to notice right off the bat is the pre-tag on talents. Here we can see a common talent on this high-end chest piece called Devastating, which increases weapon damage by a flat 5%. From that tag, we can already infer a rarity or strength curve to gear talents, which greatly increases depth of build strength and diversity. A common talent has a simple, unlockable bonus, but a rare or advanced talent may feature something much stronger. We will have to wait and see for that. Jumping over to this backpack, we can see 4 different major attributes, a large increase over previous backpacks in the original game, as well as 2 different talents, one increasing armor by 10% and the other hazard protection. Again, both are common talents, and you combine these attributes, the talents, and the brand bonus on one backpack, it is now sitting at 7 different factors which impact your build strength and functionality. Not to mention the fact that as a major attribute, there is flat weapon damage, as we can see right here, which signifies that these rolls are not restricted to lesser or unimportant stats. Now we can flip over to these knee pads and we see Hardened, again increasing armor by 10%. This makes it clear that gear talents are not restricted to one single slot, i.e. in Division 1 you could only ever get Savage on gloves, or Reckless on your chest piece. In Division 2, that is clearly not the case. Perhaps certain pieces cannot roll certain things, but it's obvious that there is overlap and stacking is possible to some degree. Now we can move to the truly interesting stuff. These gloves right here show a talent called Hit and Run, which gives a speed boost, how much is yet unknown, after melee kills for 2 seconds. However, the player cannot have over 70,000 armor. That means when perhaps downing an agent in PvP and running up to melee them, thus proccing the speed boost, you cannot be an armor tank or you will not get the talent. You will fail to meet the requirements for the gloves, thus rendering the talent ineffective. This is a huge departure from Division 1, where stacking everything higher on everyone across the board was universally desirable. This system of minimum and maximum requirements will add a complex new layer to building. Consider these knee pads now. The requirement is less than 70,000 armor for hit and run on the gloves, but nothing is mentioned regarding health. So might it not be possible to stack the vital talent and health rolls on all of your gear to become an insane health tank, ignoring armor and having less than 70,000 of it, but having far more than that in health, while still taking advantage of the melee style hit and run talent speed boost? I hope everyone can see where I'm going with this. Talents will have far more intricate requirements, perhaps requiring a certain amount of critical hit chance to be active, or less than a certain amount of raw weapon damage, having enough damage to elites to be triggered, or having relatively no skill power in order to get a large bonus to damage or toughness. Instead of a linear stacking game, it becomes a sort of Tetris-style puzzle, but from multiple angles. Consider the talent on this holster, Providence Well-Rounded. The talent will increase critical hit chance for 6 seconds after a cover-to-cover move. Now take a look at this LMG, which increases damage to bleeding targets by 15%, but requires over 15% critical hit chance to be active. It may be possible to use the cover-to-cover move to stack enough critical hit chance to then unlock the Sadist talent. How far can that chain go? Can you create a complex line of talents all predicated on the bonus activating from the previous item? I'm not entirely sure on everything, but there are definitely possibilities. When farming for gear and receiving common or uncommon or advanced and powerful talents on your items, the rare ones may have requirements for the common ones, making these sort of strings of lesser talents that lead up to a far more meaningful major talent at the end of that chain. The primary concern of simplicity through the elimination of gear and weapon mods from the drop table for me is not as much of a factor, because it seems pretty obvious that with the new and complex talent or stat requirements, that they will be used as basic building blocks to unlock things that you want, while avoiding the criteria that would deactivate your preferred bonuses or talents. It's less about blind stacking now and more about threading the needle and having the right amount of the right stats to unlock the right things to make your build fun, unique, and suited to your playstyle. Let's say you like supporting. Take a look at this shotgun right here. The hemorrhage talent will give your entire group 25% critical hit chance for 10 seconds if you deal the killing blow to a bleeding target. That's no small thing. You can coordinate with your squad to maybe have a sniper land a bleed shot on an enemy as you flank and deal the killing blow, thus making your whole team stronger for 10 seconds. The game is heavily skewed towards coordination and role-based tactical combat in a way that Division 1 never really was. Division 2 will have a tree of possibilities where stacking heavily into one thing will further increase your efficiency in that role, but it will eliminate your other options at the same time. As an example, we can see this sniper rifle right here, which will increase damage across the board for headshot kills by 10%, stacking up to 100% if you land consecutive shots, and you don't reset the bonus by missing some. However, to get it, you must stack all the way to 140% headshot damage to begin with. The rifle only has 90, requiring you at least to spec a few weapon mods to headshot damage, but weapon mods also have a downside. Also, since you are prioritizing headshot damage, you are unable to stack certain other attributes high enough for some of the tank talents, for instance. The system is vastly different than just hunting down maximum firearms rolls for gear in the original game, and to me it is far more appealing. It's also easy to see from the footage that player armor bars differ in their segment size. So imagine a player that has stacked armor on every single attribute possible, and they've netted themselves plus 30% or so from different hardened talents on multiple pieces of gear, and perhaps even more bonuses than that. At this point, it's not all known. The player could be sitting at over 100,000 armor very easily, compared to the agents we typically saw in the gameplay from E3, who have about 50,000. Running up towards them in a PvP scenario would be a different type of encounter than Division 1, because immediately upon vision of the agent, it would be clear that they are a tank and have a ton of armor. The information would be available from the get-go. The player is beefy and won't go down fast, and this will impact how you engage them, or how you fight back if they engage against you. This type of information is the type that is necessary for true tactical gameplay, and it was completely lacking from Division 1 until recently, and even then, the balancing was so bad that everyone running one of three things would just be fought in the exact same way anyways. This new system on a surface level may seem a little bit casualized or dumbed down, but in reality it is vastly more complex in both options and customization. But, however, an effort is being made to make it simultaneously easier to understand for most players. This type of content is a dream come true for me, and many other YouTubers as well, because my channel was originally predicated on Division builds, and this gives a lot more freedom in that category. In Division 1, most things could be directly equated to damage. We had clear best-in-slot options, and not running those things put you at a severe disadvantage. With Division 2, there may still be best-in-slot options for maybe, let's say, a max damage sniper or a maximum armor tank, but those best-in-slots will be far less universal, and much more of an emphasis will be placed on playstyle and a more intricate weaving of talents that do not have conflicting requirements to give your agent conditional and powerful bonuses. Talents will now more often have things that are not necessarily tied to damage, but instead to target prioritization or movement or utility. When it comes to PvP, I don't know exactly how all of these changes will be balanced. It's obvious that this is still the very early stages, and none of these numbers shown can be taken as rock solid or final to any degree. They will likely change a great deal, but such a large shift away from linear, traditional Division 1 building mechanics to me is quite refreshing. What do all of you think of the changes? My hope is that despite the fact that most of my skepticism has now given way to tentative excitement, that this does not come across as overhyping. The web of talents, however intricate it is, could be broken to all hell. That's a possibility. That's a definite possibility. I truly hope not, but I'm not going to sit here and tell you that it will be an amazing game. But what I do want to say is that the framework presented so far gives me so much more hope and seems like a much more carefully thought out plan for endgame customization than Division 1's gear sets ever were. What do you guys think? I have done a few videos now so far regarding how Division 2 will be supremely different than Division 1, but I am interested in how the community feels about these differences. I know some people actually enjoy the systems we have now, others do not. So with this new type of talent system, what do you think will be the result? Let me know in the comments down below. As always, there are links to join or support the communities down below. Since there has been a lot of interest recently in the Division merch that we reopened, I am doing a limited run for these right here, the OG Super Saiyan Agent shirts. Everybody loved them back in the day, so they're up on Teespring yet again. The link is down below, so pick one up if you want to. There is also a link to the Facebook community, the Discord server, and our private gaming forums on which everyone is welcome to join, so check those out. My Twitch stream is there as well, and I do live stream from time to time if you want to catch a live broadcast, or if you want to support with Twitch Prime from the Twitch page. It's free, and it would be much appreciated. As always though, thank you for watching. I'll cut it there, and have a nice night.